entrepreneurs. My name is Jared Yellen, and I'm the founder of Send It. And I just cannot wait to dig into this subject with you because there's just so much that you need to know in order to thrive in this area of your business. So I appreciate you for investing the time and energy over these 7 weeks to go through this process with me. Here's the deal. I promise you, this is not a waste of your time. Every single thing I share, including what we're going to talk about today, has been proven for years. And not even just by me, by my team and by our tribe. So everything that I share is practical advice and recommendations that I know work. I don't have to guess, I don't have to theorize around it. And what's really interesting is that this week in particular is the week where so many people are being misled when it comes to how to leverage social media the right way. There's all these gurus out there that are claiming that you should be doing X, Y, and Z, and they're not even doing X, Y, and Z. There's trainers that are telling you that this is how you build a following on social. And then you go and you look, and they don't even have a following on social. So it's really easy to talk as if in the world of social media. It's really easy to say buzz things that work. But at the end of the day, when the rubber meets the road, you need your business to thrive on social. It's just what it comes down to, because we no longer have a choice on whether we do social media. The question is, how do we go about doing it? That's really what I'm going to talk about today, is the how. I'm not here to convince you. I mean, we know that social media is here to stay. If anything, this era of the internet is called social media, and there'll be something else in the future. But that's how prevalent and relevant and important social media is to your business. And personally, I'm slightly biased to Facebook. And the reason for it is because our tribe, when I think about who you are and what you represent, that really the most effective kind of, if you were going to pick one, even though you really should try to do many, if you were going to pick one, Facebook is your be-all end-all. So most of what I share today is going to be focused on Facebook. You're able to apply these same concepts to Instagram and other platforms as well. But if you were only going to pick one, Facebook is the one that I recommend. So here's the deal. There are specific things that I will not address today. And the reason is because I don't believe that these 3 things are replicatable the way that I want them to be. I believe that it requires, and these are the 3 things I'm not going to talk about. I'll show you in a moment. But I don't want to ever talk about something that's just like over the head of the majority of you. And I'm happy to do advanced social media training on things that I've learned and tested, and even bring on some experts that I know are actually doing it to touch on these areas. But for today, we're not going there. We're talking pure fundamentals, and we're actually going to bring, I guess you can say, a little bit of manual work into the social media process because I know it works. And for you, your most valuable asset that you have is your story and your message. And social media is just a platform to share it. So what I'm sharing with you is something that all of you can do. No one will be overwhelmed as a byproduct today. I promise you, I guarantee it. You're going to say, yeah, actually, I've heard of some of those things. Wow, that sounds obvious, but I'm not really doing it. And that's my hope and desire, is that this is just a reminder for you to do it. But here's what I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about like tricking the Facebook algorithms. Like some of the things I do reference, like as there's a natural consequence, you're kind of tricking the algorithms. But I'm not going to even throw out that word because it perturbs me when I hear people that are, which for lack of a better terms, are like amateurs with social media, like talking about how they know all these things about the algorithms when they don't know anything. They're actually just regurgitating things that leaders have told them, and most of those leaders don't even know what an algorithm is. So I'm not even going there. This is way too complex. So you don't need to trick anything in order to succeed on social media in its current state. The next thing is I'm not going to talk about how to run ads or boosting posts. This really is more of an advanced social media training. So I will do that at a later date if there is a demand, and I have a few people that I really respect that know this even better than I do, that I'll bring into this as well. So if there's a real meaningful demand on how to boost posts on social, just reach out to our support team, post in the Facebook group, and we'll organize something. I'm not going to talk about tripwires, and you probably don't even know what a tripwire is, but a tripwire is where you have some type of giveaway on social. And the goal is that you run ads to get people to opt in for this giveaway. And the giveaway is very inexpensive, like a few dollars, and it offsets the cost of your ads. So you're kind of generating leads for free. And I'm not going to go there either. It's too advanced. I have a friend of mine, a very close friend, who I consider to be one of the experts in this. He actually was part of our team for quite some time, and then he started his own company. And I might even bring him into the advanced training if we were to do one on this subject. So that's what I'm not going to talk about today, and I want to cover that because if that's all that you care about, then maybe this training isn't right for you. But I'm also going to challenge you because every single thing that I'm going to share works. And if that's what's most important, is doing things that work, and I recommend that you stick around 45 minutes with me to an hour so that I can really dig into this for you. So here's the deal. Before we go really deep into the fundamentals of social media, I do have an important question that I want to ask you, because when it comes down to this is something that I think is just so critical for a change maker to embrace and also to understand. But who said it was okay to build a business without any hustle? I really want to make sure you get this, right? Like, one of my biggest fears when we launched Synduit in its current state, the state that all of you know, like, love, and enjoy and evangelize around, my biggest fear was that this was going to give the perception that entrepreneurship was easy, that marketing was easy, because now you can click one button and then you can go and watch, reruns of Grey's Anatomy on your couch, and that's not what we're here to do. And you know this, right? We're here to give you leverage. We're going to give you time for you to invest that time into high-producing activities. They might be in your business, they might not. Maybe it means that now you have more time for your family and your health. That's still high-producing. So we're not here to allow you to be lazy. We're here to allow you to be high leverage. But when it comes to social media, so many people believe that they have like this sense of entitlement, almost like their business should grow just because they're doing it, but they're not really hustling. Like, maybe they're launching a couple of Synduit campaigns a month and they're posting a few times a day, and they're like, why is your business not growing? Like, you're going to need to hustle. And I'm emphasizing this because being a change maker is not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of other things that you could have done with your life that don't really require hustle, but you didn't choose those things. Like, you chose to be a change maker, and as a byproduct, get ready to hustle. I mean, get ready to do the work, because it's worth it. It's worth every aspect, because you're going to create a positive impact and you're benefiting financially as well. So I have one piece of extremely important advice for you before we dig into the fundamentals on how to leverage social media. So here is the advice. You ready for this? If you're taking notes, write this down. And if you're not, focus. Stop posting just to say that you're posting. There are so many people that have a expectation of themselves that over the course of the day they're going to post 3 times, and that's what they have to do every day. And I think that the concept in theory is great, but don't just fulfill 3 posts and say that you're done for the day. Everything that you do must be with your end receiver in mind. And when you're posting on social, you might get 50, 100, 5,000 views, but you should be picturing one person reading that message. So you want to make sure that the image and the caption that goes with the image is speaking to your avatar. It's that important. So don't just post just to say that you're posting, just to fulfill the daily requirement, because you're not going to gain any momentum. And if anything, it's going to hurt you in the short and long term, because there's no engagement. And Facebook really rewards entrepreneurs like you, business owners like you, who create engagement on social. So what we're going to talk about today are the 16, yes, 1-6, I'm giving you a ton of meat today, 16 ways to create insane, wild, and exciting engagement on social media, predominantly Facebook, because if you were to pick one platform as a change maker, Facebook is your platform, but you can apply the majority of what I'm going to share. into many platforms across the board. So the first thing that you need to think about and execute on in order to create insane, wild, and exciting engagement on social media, predominantly Facebook, is your why. So this is going to sound crazy repetitive, but I talk about this every week of the boot camp. For the first week, we went into this deeply when we talked about engaging people on an intellectual level. But the reality is that at this point, you have better gone through the process of clarifying and defining your why. This is not something that you just like do at one time. Like the why and your why is something that you refine over time and you work on over time, and you get clearer over the course of time. So this is something I want you to recognize. That you're not just gonna like check the box like it's done. The reason we're starting here is because without clarity of your why, the odds are you're not going to do social the right way. You really need to dig into this. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? Like, why do you exist in the world? Why is your message and your story something that people even need to hear and read? I'm sure you'll agree. It's busy, right? I mean, like social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, it's busy. I mean, you're competing for people's attention. Why should they even listen? And if you're not clear on this, I don't care if you're hitting Let's Rock and Send to it, if you're writing your own captions, if you're designing your own images, if you have a virtual assistant that's doing all that for you. If you're not clear on your why, there's no chance you're going to make any progress or positive momentum in the world of social media or really anywhere in your business. So invest the time and define your why. And the reason I say this is because I would recommend at least every week, one time, there's a why post. I call it a why bomb. And that's where you either get on video, you create an image, you write a caption. You can't automate this because your why is unique to you. Like, you need to do this. And if you feel stuck with how to write it or design it or what to say on video, then just post a question in the Facebook group and tag me. Either myself or my team will respond to you with some guidance. But drop a why bomb each week. People will forget, people won't see it, and you want to make sure that they're hyper aware of why you do what you do. That is a tactic for you. Drop a why bomb every week. I'm going to say it again. Drop a why bomb every week, at least one time, so that people never forget what you stand for. The next thing that you need to discover, and this is really important for a topic we're going to talk about later on, is who is your ideal? Like, who is your ideal? This is something that I talk about all of the time during Sinuate Lives and various trainings, and even during the week where we talked about engaging on an intellectual level. But who is your ideal candidate to do business with? If you're a network marketing professional, who is the ideal person to buy your product or service? If you're building a team in your network marketing industry, who is the ideal person to join your team? If you are a health professional, if you're a chiropractor, who is the ideal patient? If you're a coach, who is your ideal client? Now, this is not just like throwing together a string of words. This is literally sitting down and writing the story of this person's life. Where do they shop? What are they interested in? What are they scared about? What are their goals? What are their aspirations? What is their vision? You want to really get to know your ideal. And the reason for this is because either if you're picking campaigns and sending it, you're doing some of your own custom posts or a combination of both, you want to make sure that your ideal is being spoken to. There's so many people out there who might say my ideal, and I'm just making this up for the sake of the example, is the mompreneur, like the stay-at-home mom who wants to earn an income because they want to stay at home, or even the stay-at-home dad, doesn't matter, it's not a gender thing. They want to earn an income, but they don't know how, and like that's your ideal. But like every single thing that you're saying through social doesn't speak to them. So it's really important that you know who your target is so that your content is relevant to them. Super important. The next thing is, where are you going to post? I'm going to talk about this more with a later point, but where are you going to post? I'm sure many of you have your own personal pages, you have business pages, maybe many business pages, you have groups. So it's very important that when you're deciding on where you want to post, that if it's relevant for all of them, then you can do that sporadically. Make sure that if there's a group or a page or your timeline, that the audience is relevant to the post. I know it's insinuate as an example. It's so easy. You can launch a campaign, like a 30-day social media blitz, and you can click like 49 pages, your timeline in 12 groups, and then you're done and you're like, wow, that was easy. And I'm here to tell you not to do that. Like maybe every now and then you'll post the same thing in multiple locations, but don't make that your standard. Facebook doesn't like that, and I don't like that, and I also know it doesn't work. So you really want to make sure that with regard to your social media strategy, that the content that you post is relevant in each of the locations where you are posting. Number 4 is when to post. And this is a very common question that our team gets. And our response is not like a black and white answer, because it isn't a black and white response. But instead, when you're clear on your who, as in your ideal, the next step is to determine when are they most active on social. And you might say to yourself, well, I don't know when they're most active. So my response is to find out, okay? Like literally think of people that you know that represent your who and private message them on Facebook, call them on the phone, meet them for coffee. If they're a patient of yours because you're a chiropractor, talk to them when they're in the office. I don't care how you find out, but ask 3 to 5 to 10 people that are your ideal. When are you most active on social? I'm going to be putting out tons of inspirational, educational content, and you are someone that represents my ideal. You're like the perfect, you're the avatar, you're the reasons why. And I want to make sure that I'm able to connect with other people like you, and based on your usage on Facebook or social media, I'm going to take my strategy and apply it to that. So just ask them if you don't know. You can also begin to look at your ideal and see what time of the day are they posting, because that would be a great example of when they're most active. But also don't get too caught up in this and make it like overly scientific. Just start posting. If the engagement is not what you want, then change the time that you post. One of the beauties of marketing in the 21st century is that it's somewhat forgiving, actually very forgiving. It's not like you're going out and purchasing a huge billboard in Times Square, and then like you realize you chose the wrong shade of green, and every time the sun reflects off it, you can't read your name. Like that's a big faux pas, right? That's a significant problem. Whereas in today's world, you can make changes quickly, and you can change in seconds. So don't get so caught up in the when to post, but I recommend asking your ideal, screening them on social, seeing when they're active, and then just doing it, and then adapting based on the results that you are getting. The next question is what to post. We get asked this all of the time, so I'm going to make it really simple for you, since I know all of you are part of the tribe. My recommendation is that at any one time, the most social media blitzes you should ever even consider running in Cinduit is 2. That is an absolute upper limit, and I personally would even say 1. But that's totally your choice. 1 to 2 Cinduit social media campaigns at any one time. Now, outside of that, you want to live out loud. So what that means is you want to showcase yourself and the lifestyle that you represent. One of the coolest things of being a change maker entrepreneur is that it's really a lifestyle, right? Maybe it's health and wellness oriented, maybe it's entrepreneurship oriented. It's probably a combination of both. Excuse me. You want to make sure that you're living out loud and showcasing that lifestyle. So what does that mean? Well, it means if health and wellness is part of your brand, that's what you stand for, and when you make your smoothie in the morning, every now and then take a picture of the ingredients, or take a picture of yourself or your child drinking the smoothie, and then post the ingredients. These are things that you can't automate because they happen in everyday life. If you're an entrepreneur, and you attend a seminar and to learn about a new skill or to have a mastermind session or something like that, take a picture when you're there and share what you're learning. So my recommendation, I know some of you post 10 times a day, 15 times a day, 5 times a day. If you can handle it and you deliver valuable information, not just posting to say that you're posting, valuable information, then by all means continue to do it. But if that's hard for you to sustain, I'd rather see you post 1 to 2 times a day very intentionally than post 10 to 12 to 15 times a day haphazardly with weak value. So that's my recommendation. When it comes to what to post, you can run 1 to 2 Cinduit campaigns each month. Obviously, there's no limit. This is my recommendation. And then from there, live out loud as often as possible. People love that stuff. You'll get even more engagement, and it allows you to showcase who you really are. Then it comes down to intentional messaging. So what does intentional messaging actually mean? So this is a really important concept. So direct message on Facebook is absolutely awesome. I mean, it is incredibly valuable, especially if you're already connected to the person that you are direct messaging. Otherwise, there is the possibility that you'll be filtered out and they're not going to see it unless they go into that section of their messenger. So don't take it personally if they don't respond if you're not friends yet. If you are friends, then it's going to show up so that they can read the message. But it must be intentional. So many people, I probably get 50 of these a week at this point. And it's just it's so corny and canned. But intentional messaging means that you spend time writing a customized message to the individual. It's as if you were going out for coffee with them and like you would cater the message based on their goals, needs, and desires. You wouldn't just have like a template that you speak at, because that would be inauthentic and uninteresting. And when it comes to direct messaging, it's even more important because I think it's somewhat invasive when I get these blasts, like people just like copying and pasting, and Facebook hates it, so you could very well end up in Facebook jail by doing this, but be intentional with it. And if you feel like you can't do this at scale, that's okay. I'd rather see you intentional message 3 people a week than send a canned template messages to 300 people a week, because they're not going to engage. And if they're not going to engage, it's a waste of your effort and it hurts your brand. So be intentional with the messages that you write and to who you write those messages to, so that it actually works. I'll tell you right now, and this is me being transparent, as a company, we have made millions of dollars because of intentional messaging, where there was some leader or someone like that I wanted to connect with, and I found a way to become friends on Facebook. I always do that first, otherwise the odds are the message will be filtered out. And then I wrote a very personal note to this person, and it's like a Hail Mary message if you've seen that Cinduit live. And if not, check out facebook.com/Cinduit and click on videos to watch that message, how to connect with the untouchables. But I wrote a Hail Mary message, and nearly every time they responded, we've made millions of dollars because of being very intentional with your messaging. Another thing, number 7, is comment on the comments. When you post something, whether it's a Cinduit automated post, whether it's your own post, whether you're sharing something from a friend, which you really should only do very rarely, comment on the comments. It's something that's so critical. So few people actually do it. I mean, I've watched so many of you on social, and you give off this impression like you're too busy. And the reality is maybe you are, but you can't be too busy to respond to someone's comment. Even if all that they're saying is thank you, I mean, acknowledge the fact that they said thank you. And by commenting on the comments, a few things that happen. One, you build a deeper relationship with that person. And that's what social media is about. It's about building deep relationships. Too many people are doing this on a very surface level, and what's getting lost is the meaning, significance. 2, Facebook loves engagement. So if Facebook sees that you have a post that goes up and there's 12 comments on it, the odds are it's going to show up on people's newsfeed longer because there's engagement, there's interest. So when you're commenting on a comment, you're getting like 2 points for that. So just do it. Comment on the comments. create 10 minutes a day where you go back and you look at all of the comments and you comment on them and start building meaningful relationships on social media. The next thing is ask questions that you care about. So we create these campaigns that are kind of like fun and quirky. It's just like random questions, and they create like wild levels of engagement. And my biggest fear when we were releasing those was like, do you even care about what people are going to respond with, or are you just doing it to create artificial engagement? And I stand by that concern, because I don't want you just running a campaign that has like quirky questions, but you don't really care about people's responses. Like, that's an example. Comment on the comments. Like, when you're getting people responding to their favorite movie from when they were 10 years old, like, comment on their comment. Like, you're like, oh, thank you, I never saw that movie, or that was one of my favorites as well. Like, be genuine with the post. There's so many people now that are posting questions on social. Like, if you could pick one place to travel, where would it be? Just like as an example. That's a fine post if you care about what people are saying. But if people are just doing this, and I can see they're not commenting in the comments, they don't even care. They're just trying to create artificial engagement. And whether that looks good up on Facebook or not, it's ineffective for your business. Facebook, social media in general, is about building deep relationships. It's just a conduit to reach people to go deep with them. So you would never go out on to a dinner or to an event and just ask questions that you don't care about the answer to. Don't use social media to do that. Pretend like you're going out for dinner with people that are going to answer this question, and when you post it, you're actually interested in the responses. From here, this is a really cool concept, and I don't see enough of it, and I'm hoping that this becomes a catalyst for you, is scratch each other's back. This is a really cool concept. So every one of you are either part of a wonderful, outstanding network marketing organization, or you're in an industry where, like chiropractic, where you're trying to change the world. Every one of you are in something like that. So my recommendation is help each other out. Spend 2 minutes each day, and when you see people on your team posting Syndicate campaigns or posting their own content, give them a like, comment on what they posted. They're going to come and scratch your back and then give you likes and comments as well. And the reason why this is so valuable is it shows engagement. You're supporting each other. There's camaraderie. Chiropractors do the same thing. I mean, go pick 10 chiropractors from around the country, like their business pages, and turn on notifications so that when they post, you can give them a like, you can comment on it, you can share it every now and then, not too often. And then as a result, they're going to do the same for you. And what that is doing is it's creating engagement, it's creating camaraderie. And I love when we can use social and actually unite people. And this is one way to do it. So scratch each other's back, work together for the common cause. Trust me, in the end, everyone will win because of this. Number 10 is be consistent. This is why before I was talking about the importance, like, I'd rather see you post twice a day of quality than 15 times a day just to say that you're doing it. But you need to be consistent. Like, if you're consistently posting once a day, then consistently post once a day. But be consistent with it. Every one of you are in the business of transforming. Whether it's health or finances, you're in the business of transforming lives, which I love and respect, and it inspires me. But if you're helping somebody and they're taking inconsistent actions, then the chances of them achieving high levels of success are very minimal versus the individual that takes consistent action. Let's just use weight loss as an example. Who's going to see better outcomes? The person who inconsistently eats well and inconsistently exercises, or the person who consistently eats well and consistently exercises. It's an obvious answer. But the reality is, are you being consistent with your business? And social media is an area where you must be consistent. So make up your mind, make it attainable, and then just be consistent. I've always believed this, and I've seen this to be true. The person who holds on the longest, who is the most consistent, always wins. I want that for you. Number 11, stay local with your efforts. This is going to sound ridiculous, and so few of you are going to do this because it really does take time. But there's such value in getting off of social, getting into the real world, and then getting back on social, and then getting off again. So what do I mean by that? So what I mean is get in your car today or tomorrow or whenever you watch this recording and actually spend an hour. Drive around your community. Maybe drive for 2 hours and begin to document every business that's like-minded. So if you're in health and wellness, maybe it's a yoga studio, maybe it's a chiropractor, maybe it's a meditation facility, maybe it's a health food store, and begin to document every like-minded business that you can find, and then spend another hour and find their business page on social media and like it and turn on notifications and begin to engage on a consistent basis. And what's going to happen is they're going to take notice of this, and it's going to allow you to build a deeper relationships. This is an example of getting off social media, getting off it, finding out information, and getting back on it to create an initial relationship, and then ultimately getting back off of it because since they're local, you can go deep with them. You can meet with them in person in order to build something special. This is something that very few will do, but the few that do it will see noticeable and tangible results in your business. So stay local with your efforts. Also, get on camera. It's number 12. If you're scared of the camera, I'm going to tell you to be afraid and do it anyway. I remember when I first got on camera, which was, I was 21. So 11 years ago from the time of this video. And I recorded a 2-minute video. That 2-minute video took me 7 hours because I was messing up and fumbling my words. And I wasn't comfortable yet being perfectly imperfect. And I remember thinking to myself in that moment, if I can't find a way to make a 2-minute video take 2 minutes, I have to give up. Like, I don't have, there's just not enough time in the world to get this message out there. And obviously I figured it out just through repetition and practicing it. And also stop focusing on being perfect and just focusing on getting the message out there. But I really encourage you so deeply to get on camera and on a regular basis. So it's easier than ever. You can use your phone, you can do Facebook Live, you can record videos and post them to YouTube. But get on camera. Your live each week should be you getting on camera. Every time that you're living out loud, you're doing something with your family or your friends, get on camera, record a video. It's super inspiring. The social media platforms love it. It creates engagement, and the more consistent you are, the more people will expect it. And then as a byproduct of that, you're going to see tons of views, tons of engagement, people sharing it, and then everybody wins in the process. But if you're like one of those people right now, you're like, all right, let me go out and get the perfect equipment to get on camera, stop focusing on perfection, and instead of focusing on getting it done, your message and your story is already perfect. That's all that matters. I don't care about lighting. I don't care about the perfect camera. Just do it. Think about this right now. I'm traveling. I'm in the lobby of a very busy hotel, and I'm doing this. And then some of you are going to be like, well, it's annoying, the background music and background noise. People are walking around. I'm going to say, I don't care. I'm here to deliver something of value. You're going to get caught up in those details, work on that for yourself, and then come back and dig into this. It's the same holds true for you. Anyone that's going to critique things that are meaningless should just focus on their own issues and then come back to what you're referencing. So don't focus on perfection. Focus on getting it done and get on camera. This leads me directly into the 13th point, which is stop caring about the freaking naysayers. I mean, to me, you should learn to love your naysayers, because every time there's a naysayer, what that just did is it removed a non-believer from space in your life that gives you space now to add more believers. I love the naysayers. If there are no naysayers in your world, you're not on the edge enough. You're not being fearless and bold enough. There should always be people who tell you that they're not interested, who tell you that you're not going to succeed, who will laugh at you. You should use that as wild and insane motivation. Stop caring about the naysayers. Stop caring about what other people think, and instead focus on what matters most, which is what you stand for in the world. It's why you do what you do. It's your desire to make a difference. Stop investing in people and not worth investing in. Number 14 is 21st century marketing is forgiving, so don't quit. I touched on this before, but I really wanted to emphasize this again, because too many people are kind of looking at the data before they're even qualified to look at the data. And what I mean by that is maybe you start doing videos on social, and like you're not getting engagement after a week, and like you give up on it, or you're like, I'm not that good for a video, and you just like stop doing it. If you don't have the right to look at your data, just do it. I mean, like, you know it works, right? Like people that record video content and post it consistently and have images and motivational quotes and help tips, etc., posting on social are going to win if they're consistent with it. Like, but it's also forgiving. Like, if something isn't working, you can tweak it. Don't quit. I mean, like, that's just not even an option. Like, when you raised your hand to be a change maker, there is no plan B. Like, you have to now just be a change maker. Like, realize that, or don't talk that game, and instead focus on something else. There's no like better or worse. It's just you need to be authentic and real. And you can't quit. 21st century marketing is forgiving. You didn't go out, like I said before, and invest tens of thousands of dollars into a billboard in Times Square, or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or millions of dollars, only to realize that the shade of green that you have on the billboard is making it hard to read your name and the slogan. Like that's not forgiving. Whereas you posting on Facebook, it's forgiving. Just like tweak things and then keep on going, but don't quit. Number 15 is go micro with your Facebook efforts. So what do I mean by this? So this is going to be a challenge for some of you, but I'm gonna say it because I really know that it works. Stop focusing on business pages, because unless you have a budget and you're willing to really invest money and resources into building a following on a business page, I know for most of you, you don't have that, which is perfectly fine. Like, focus instead on setting up private Facebook groups and inviting people into the groups. Many of you are afraid to get too active on your personal timeline because you don't want to overwhelm your friends and family with something that you're passionate about. And I get it. Like, you don't want to be posting 5 times a day about a subject that doesn't interest these people. So what I say is get them to raise their hand. Set up a private Facebook group or multiple private Facebook groups, and every now and then on your timeline, post about these groups and say these are free groups for people with X, Y, and Z, your avatar. If this interests you, just ask to join. We'll get you inside, and in this group, I share everything to do with X, Y, and Z. And when you go micro with your efforts, you can post 100 times a day in those groups. I don't care how many times a day you do this, but the people in there have raised their hand. They're interested. The odds of them seeing your post are greatly enhanced versus you just kind of posting random content that people haven't raised their hand for, which is why your engagement is probably low. We model this to a T at Syndicate. Think about it. Every one of you are in a private group that we've created. And as a result, every time we post, like, you're seeing it because you're in a group. You raised your hand. You said you want to be part of it, and you're interested in that information. I can post 7 times a day, 10 times a day, and no one's going to say it's too much because you actually asked for it in the first place. So go micro with your Facebook efforts. Move away from pages unless you have a big budget and you're willing to pay to play, and set up groups and then invite people into those groups. And what that turns into is a community for you to communicate through, and it will absolutely, unequivocally grow your business. It's another strategy that we've implemented. We've made millions because of it. And it's, remember, all the groups we have are free. Get inside. Don't even need to be part of Synduit to be in the group. And eventually something will click, and then they will sign up for your service or purchase your product. So give this a go. It's completely worth it. I know in the beginning it's going to seem hard because you're going to have like 3 people in the group, and that's not so fun. But just be consistent, act as if there's thousands, and it will eventually become thousands. And the most important and the immediate action step for you to take is, if you did nothing else, you just did this, you will notice a difference, is to be you. So many people are trying to be something other than themselves on social because they'll see someone get on camera like me and be like, well, Jared talks that way, I'm going to posture myself that way. Or they'll see another speaker or leader, and they all of a sudden lose what makes them so beautiful. I've said this many times, but authenticity is magnetic. I want you to realize that authenticity is absolutely the game changer for your business. So if right now, for any reason, like you're unable to be authentic on social, you need to question where that's derived from. Because being you, it supersedes anything else that I share. The other 15 points are meaningless if you're not you. Stop trying to be something that you're not. Be you. It's beautiful. It's perfectly imperfect. It's exactly what your business, your mission, and your calling needs. Be you. So here's the assignment for the week. In the Facebook group, I want you to share your absolute best Facebook post of all time. All time. I mean, like your Hall of Fame #1 Facebook post. I want you to share it to the group, and I also love for you to share why you feel this was the best, because it may not be the one that got the most engagement. It might just be the one that you feel the best about, and that's totally cool. So share it into the group. We will approve every one of these to post, and then to share why this one was your absolute best. It'll be really exciting to see all of you share some of your best, because maybe you can work together. You can use pieces of each other, but you'll always infuse you into it. Next week, week 5, we are going to talk about a subject that every single one of you need to learn, which is how to become a ninja with live events. The webinar is on June 7th at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific time. But for now, this closes out week 4. I hope that you enjoyed the experience. I know most of what I shared are things that you've heard before, but it's because they work. We've proven them to work. So my hope and my desire is that you take this very seriously and you execute based on what you gained. Because those that do will see a noticeable difference over time with their social media engagement, and that is a byproduct with their business as well. I love you, I appreciate you, and remember, together we achieve more. I'll speak with you soon.